Welcome to part 3 of the Advanced Revit course. We're going to be creating grid lines and going over the best practices for doing so. If you'd like to get access to all of the course files, materials and resources, as well as 20 hours of ad-free content, you can feel free to check out the full course on my website. I'll see you there. Alright, so the first thing we want to do when annotating this project is to add some grid lines, and this is usually something that you'll do towards the start of a project, but considering that we were just getting to the basics in the beginner and intermediate course, we've left it until now, which is also fine. Almost every architectural project should have a grid set up. However, it might be a little bit different for different types of projects. For example, a commercial project might have more of a structural grid showcasing where each of the columns are and where the beams are going to be and those sorts of things. Whereas a residential project where you're designing a house, it doesn't necessarily need to show a structure grid because it might not be the same throughout the entire building. It's not like a multi-story building where each floor is going to have a certain grid of structure. For us doing a residential project, what we want to focus on is setting it up so that if a builder were to grab these drawings, they would have something to work from. So in that case, I guess what we're creating is a bit of a reference grid as to where the walls might be, or potentially some of those main elements of the building. So let's go ahead and get into creating some grid lines. I'm going to open up the ground floor plan viewport. I've just got the sheet open here, but this is going to do the same thing as opening the view. I'm going to go to the architecture tab, and under datum, you've got grid. And you can also see that GR is going to place a grid line. So I'm going to click on that. And there are a few different options we've got here. First things first, we can either draw a new grid with a line, we can create a curved grid line, or we can also pick a line which we've looked at in previous courses. But for us, we just want to create a simple grid line. Now you're going to see that as you hover over certain elements, you can see that temporary dimensions are going to be placed and a blue line is going to come up with the external faces of each wall. So if I place one here, it's going on and locking onto the external face. If I come up here, it's going to lock onto this external face, but not the internal face. And that's actually good because if a builder were to say, pick up this set of drawings, they'd want to be referencing something as mentioned earlier, but they want to reference something that is actually there. You wouldn't have it going through the middle of the wall because they can't really build off of that. When they're building something, they want to have a known point on which they can build. So in that case, we would use the external faces. You could possibly use the internal faces, but it's not as common because the slab is going to also reference the external walls. So in that case, I would always snap onto the external walls with my grid line. If you are using a structural grid for a more commercial or multi-story building, then you would be placing grid lines through all of the columns or using it to set up the structure. Now, if I place a grid, you're going to see that it's placing it with the tail first, which is the side without the head on it. So what I'm going to do is just place this down throughout the building, and we're going to reference that exterior wall on the ground floor plan and just bring this out down to the bottom. So already you can see that's just created a grid line, which is good. It's got the number 1, which means it's the first grid line we've created, which is also good. And if I press GR again to create another one, what we can do is now create another grid from, let's say, this external wall. And what we want to do is try and line it up with that one on the left, which you can see it has a nice blue guideline for us. So that's the intersection that we want to pick. And we can go ahead and draw this down the page and lock it onto this one. Now we might also want one for, say, these internal walls as well. You can go pretty crazy with creating grid lines, but now while we've just got these two in, I want to show you how they work. So what we can do is pull out these grid lines with these round tools here, and you can see it says 3D. This is something that I didn't realize was a thing for a very long time while using grid lines, but plays a big part. Now, if we go to our north to south elevations, you're going to see those grid lines are actually showing up on them as well. So they are 3D grids, and we can select them here as well. And now you can see that it says 2D. So what's the difference between this being 3D and then it being 2D on the elevations? What this is showing is that if we move this in the model, it's going to move the grid lines throughout the entire model. So let's bring up, say, the level 1 floor plan where they should also show up. Yep, you can see them there. Let's just see that the heads are right here. But if we go back to the ground floor plan and we move those heads down, let's say off the screen, just to showcase that, you're going to see them also move on the level 1 floor plan as well. And so it's moving it throughout the 3D model. Whereas if we were to select the grid line on the ground floor plan and click this 3D button, it's going to make that 2D. So now what we can do is move that tail and it's not going to move on the level 1 floor plan. Whereas this is still 3D. So if I wanted this to not move on the entire model, then I'd have to switch that to 2D extents and then I can move it separately without it moving it on any other plans as well. So that's just something to consider. And then you can bring it back there and you can see it makes it 2D. So if I bring this out, you can still see it's got that 3D extents part there, but then 2D is just stretching it out for this drawing. And then you can bring it back and make it 3D again. And what I'm going to do is create another grid. I just press GR. I'm going to make this one horizontal. So starting with the tail first, I'm going to just bring this across the page. And you can see that's sequentially gone up to number 3. So it goes 1, 2, 3, which isn't necessarily what we want. I reckon in our case, we'll want these vertical grids to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And then the horizontal grids to be A, B, C, D, etc. So I'm going to change this by clicking on the grid first, and then clicking on this little parameter box here, and then just typing A. Now, if you're going to have more than 26 grids, which some people do in large buildings, then you might make this AA, and then you'll go AB, AC, AD, etc. Now we can go ahead and create another one on this bottom part here and bring it out. And you're going to see that automatically goes to B. So it's going to automatically change it for you. And then what I can do is just stretch this out in line with that other one, and that's going to change it throughout the entire model. What I like to do is add the grid head on both sides of the grid. It just makes it a bit more viable and a bit more easier to read. So if I select any of the grid lines and to check this box here next to the grid line, that's going to turn the head on for that side as well. And if you want to turn it off on this side, you can just check that button again, or I'll uncheck it and it will toggle it on that side as well. And again, you need to do this for each of the grid lines. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So now from here, there's also some internal walls we might want to create a grid for, or even the carport or the slab, whatever it might be. We might actually create a grid line off of this internal wall here. And this is going to say C, but we're going to have to change that afterwards. And then pull this one out in line with the bottom. Once you snap the grid line to another one, they all start to link. And so if I move these two, you can see they move together. Why has this one not moved with it? If we select that, you can see that that one is actually still in 3D mode, whereas these two are in 2D mode. So if I go ahead and click 2D on that, it now means that they are all the same and they are all going to be linked together. So if I move this one, you can see it moves all three of them. And then we might just want to change the name. So I'm going to make this one 3 and then this one 2. If we look at the level 1 floor plan, you can see that these grids are showing up here as well. However, that's not going to take the grid heads that we've put on the other ones. They are view dependent, so it's only going to change it for each view. And that's the same as the 3D and 2D extents. If you want them to be all 2D, you have to change them all to be 2D for each grid line on each view. But the good thing is that each of the grid numbers and letters, if it may be letters, they do change and they do relate to each other on each drawing. And so now in the level 1 floor plan, we can see that that ground floor wall that comes through here, its external face or internal face is in the exact same spot on the floor above as well. So that's just a good way to reference other drawings or some of the main structural load-bearing walls without having to flick through each drawing. So then we might also want some more grid lines on this plan. So if we go ahead and line this one up here, we can draw these in and line them up. And I'm just going to hide this background because we don't need to see that at the moment. Then I'll stretch this one out and press GR and keep going. Just whatever might seem like an important wall, we want to create a grid for. I'm going to go ahead and turn on all of the check marks for these. And you can see that the numbers and the grid letters don't correlate at the moment, but we can change that in a second. So we've got A, and then we obviously want that to be B, but if we try to change this to B, it's not going to let us because it's already being used down the bottom. So you almost want to create the first one first, and then start creating the next ones, and it's automatically going to go A, B, C, D, E. Whereas for us, we're going to have to change these all manually now. We're just going to have a look at the level 2 floor plan, which is the floor plan above, and just see if that all correlates. And you can see where the grid lines are showing up here as well, and it's giving us a sense of where the main load-bearing walls are on all of the floors. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the grid heads for this floor plan as well. So there we have it. We've now created a grid for our floor plans, and also that shows up in all of our elevations. So if we look here, those grids show up on our elevations as well. And we'll have to clean these up once we get to these drawings. But it's just good to know that they reference across each and every single one of those drawings. All right, so now we've got our grid lines in, which is cool. The next thing we're going to do is start adding some room names and look at how we can get the areas of each room from the same tag. In the next lesson, we're going to be creating rooms and creating a custom room tag. This will also introduce you to using labels and project parameters. If you'd like to get access to all of the course files, materials, and resources, as well as 20 hours of ad-free content, you can feel free to check out the full course on my website. I'll see you there.